I had an epiphany yesterday while in the back of a taxi. And I quietly just said to myself, you're always the passenger, aren't you? And this isn't just about driving. It isn't just about getting public transport. It's a trend that I've experienced in my entire life. And I think a lot of people go through this, especially men, where you're just kind of just going through the motions. You have an idea of where you want to go, but you're not really in control. You're just kind of being taken by the waves and the tide to wherever you end up. And it's a very destructive thing, and it's something that obviously we're improving on this channel, and I want to help others do the same. But my life isn't fixed, and it is something we need to talk about and address, because it is a big factor. Without focused intent, you're not actually going to get to where you want to go. And I'm a very smart person, I would say. I would consider myself that. I'm a very creative person. I have a lot of potential, as do we all. But because I've sort of just left myself to sort of bob along, going anywhere that life takes you. Yeah, you get some stuff, you can have a good life, whatever, but you never actually get to where you want to go. You never actually truly achieve. You might achieve it in part, but you probably won't achieve it in full without that focus intent. And driving is obviously a really good analogy for this, because you literally are the passenger. And I've taken hundreds of taxi rides in my life, and probably thousands of bus journeys. It is what it is. Bus journeys is a little bit different, but taxis, I think, I did my driving lessons. I did 40 hours. I did an intensive course in the UK. Cost over £1,000. You get your 40 hours. It's like 10 days, 4 hours a day, and then you get 2 guaranteed tests. So you get a free retest if you fail your first one. So I did all that and failed the test. I had 2 major fails, and then I got really despondent about it. And I had the free retest, and I just didn't do it. This video isn't really about driving. It is a big factor in this journey, because it is something I think after the debts I want to achieve. Ideally, I want to achieve that this year. I want to get my driving license. I want to get a car, because that's going to really free up and open a lot of doors. As a 34-year-old man, I think it's kind of unacceptable that I can't drive, because it really does lower my ability to do things for myself, but most importantly, to provide for other people. And I really can't imagine starting a family and getting married without being able to do those basic things. So it is something we're going to tackle. But it just got me thinking in terms of life in general, and it's a really good analogy. So for example, I talked about in a previous video that I used to be sort of an artist, and I want to be again. I don't consider myself that anymore, because I just haven't done it, and I don't think I can actually claim to be. But in the same way, I did become a passenger in all areas of my life. When I stopped doing it, I just let life take me wherever I need to go. So I started full-time jobs, I started this and that, and it just kind of led me to where I am now, with no actual focused intent of where I wanted to go. And yes, there's different factors to this. There's laziness, there's all these different things, but that's obviously part of it. But without an actual plan, yeah, you might have a nice view for some periods, but if you're an ambitious person like I am, if you have things to do, then they just don't get done. And it's not, you always have this thing in the back of your mind, like, oh yeah, I should probably do that. But you don't. You just sort of like plod along. You're doing the same things you've always done, and you just never quite get around to it. You let life happen to you rather than you actually putting yourself out there and making the things that you really want, the things that are actually going to really impact your life in a positive way and get you to where you want to go. You never actually do them. You just sort of put it off. And you might use the excuses I have. Oh, life this, life that. Well, no, I could have continued my art career after work, on the weekends. And I do think for the most people, the weekend is a really powerful tool. And I'm finally in a job where I have weekends, because previously I've just worked retail. You don't have weekends in retail. Now it's become a really powerful tool. I batch record these videos. As I spoke in the last video, one of the last videos, I'm now dedicating this time to building up a portfolio. I want to start my art career back up, create another stream of income, and not just for money. I enjoy it. I have very creative ideas. I want to do a lot of things. I have big ambitions. I want to create all these different things. But I've let life just dictate where I wanted to go, or where it just took me randomly for, let's be fair on myself. So after university, right? So you could you're technically an adult before then, because I joined university quite late. I wasn't 18 when I went to university. So let's just give myself a bit of leeway. So since 2013, I have been a passenger completely. Absolutely. And that's 11 years. No, 12 years. Getting old. 12 years. And what have I done? Yeah, life hasn't been great. It hasn't been absolutely terrible. There's been periods, like I spoke about with my health, anxiety, and all these different things. I've not looked after myself and blah 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 blah. But I'm in my own flat, and I've got a pretty good job. I've got 3 jobs. I have the ability to make a change. I've got the ability to actually get better. But what have I done in those 12 years? Nothing. I've just allowed life to happen. And, there's a philosophy that, that's the best way to do it, like slow living, which I do think has its merits. Absolutely. But you can still have a slow life, let life happen, because it's going to happen regardless. But if I had more focused intent to actually achieve my goals I've had from the very beginning that still haven't manifested because I just haven't taken the action, you just remain a passenger for the rest of your life. Yeah, you tell the taxi driver where to go, but you can't just get off. You can't just easily change direction. You can't do this and this and that. Maybe I butchered that analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Being a passenger in life is not the same, is not nearly as rewarding and positive as it may seem. And a lot of people say, "Oh, just go with the flow." I don't know if that's what they mean. I think people are forced to go with the flow to a certain extent because, as I say, like life just happens, things unexpected just happened. But it's time for that to change. And yes, we're making progress, but it needs to be more. I think I need to really sit down, think about the most important goals I have. At the moment, finances, weight loss, health. Weight loss / health. Because those are going to have the biggest impact. They're the most foundational. I can't do much more of imports without them being ticked off first. So yes, this is the sprint period. I'm sprinting towards those goals. That's what we're doing. But what are my other goals? Now we're introducing, coming back to my art career. I want to be the driver. I want to be telling my life where it's going to go as much as I can control it. And I don't need to be in control of everything, right? You'll make yourself crazy trying to control everything. You can't. But what you can control, you should, is my philosophy. If you have somewhere to go. That's my thoughts. That was my epiphany. Hope that was relatable. Hope that was some way helpful. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.